Well, hello once again, everybody. Welcome to Soccer's Overtime, rebranded Soccer's Summertime. It's talking Soccer's in the summer. And here we are. Craig Elston, Tony Sanchez. Co-production of the San Diego Soccers and SanDiego.Futbol is live on Wednesday, July 2nd, 6 o'clock Pacific time. It's time to review TST3. And we have 4 Soccers who got a piece of the prize. Tony, what's going on?
I am thoroughly enjoying just a summer of soccer and seeing some of the stars of the Soccers share their skills with the rest of the world. And it's really cool to see not only one team, but just spread out through the tournament, just how good the San Diego Soccers are and introduce themselves to the world.
Absolutely. And we get the chance to chat tonight with 3 of our TST Bumpy Pitch FC champions. Mitchell Cardenas, Charlie Gonzalez, Cesar Cerda have all agreed to join the program. Of course, as soon as I see them, I'll know for sure that they're here. But we're waiting on them, and we can't wait to have a conversation talking to the guys who brought home the bag. The dude who scored the $1 million goal, and the team that took the TST championship trophy and just dropped it over a ledge, shattered it into 1,000 pieces. I gotta know why. I gotta know. Should be a very, very, very fun show. Looking forward to having everyone here. Thank you all for being here. Let's do some quick housekeeping. Let's set the stage, and then we'll start to welcome in our stars of TST. So first off, Soccer's Summertime. This is an occasional series. As events warrant, we'll be here. It's a chance to keep Soccer's fans up to date on everything that's happening with the club, just like Soccer's Overtime always is. And we will have at least one more show this month. I guarantee you that. There will be at least one more show in the month of July. MASL free agency is underway. Players are signing, re-signing, changing teams. We'll get into it as events warrant, as signings are announced. We'll be back. So whether it's next week, a couple weeks from now, I'm telling you, we'll have at least one more show this month. And Tony, it is exciting as we kind of get into it here to have these summer touchstones. You know, TST is just so cool because it's like 6 weeks after the season is over. So it's not so far receded in the memory. It's kind of like a fresh reminder, but it's an entry into summer, end of spring. I'd love to have like another one of these in a month or two, you know?
Yeah, there's never enough soccer as long as, again, the players are good and it's healthy for them to do. But like, it's just so fun seeing the players have fun. And a tournament like TST is something where you get to use your highly specialized skills in the indoor game and really just rely on them and showcase to the world what real association team soccer can do in any given tournament, right? Like, it only takes a couple of these players to link together. They don't play in the same team for the majority of them. It's just a bunch of just kind of pieces and a Voltron type of situation, and then you just unite into this one great soccer squad that it's a bunch of friends. It's people that they know, some rivals, some good storylines if you're into the MASL. So I really enjoyed tournaments like TST because, you really get to see, again, the highlight of players that like Cesar Cerda is out there. Charlie Gonzalez is now known in a lot of soccer households across the country, right? Because of his work. So it's a really good outlet to see more soccer and more of the players be highlighted.
Absolutely well said. With that, let's just kind of set the overview of what TST3 was, because we are doing this, almost a month after the fact, but we certainly wanted to give the boys a couple of weeks to get to their home climbs, decompress, that old saying, it hasn't sunk in yet. Let it sink in, clean the dust off the fragment of the trophy that they have. And then get the chance to chat with us. And we're really excited to do it. Here's the TST3 overview, June 4th to 9th, Cary, North Carolina is when it took place, a Wednesday through a Monday. Men's and a women's field, $1 million winner-take-all grand prize on each side. That prize to be split amongst the players and staff of the winning team only. Second place team gets squadouche. 48 teams in the field for TST3 on the men's side. If you were somewhat unfamiliar with this at all, or maybe you're just somebody who's tripping across this on YouTube, maybe you're an outdoor fan of SanDiego.Futbol that's like going, what are these guys talking about? TST introduced 3 years ago something which has been incredibly popular since, which is called target score time. Hey, look, TST, which stands for the soccer tournament, but TST could also stand for target score time, which is, Tony, 2 20-minute halves. At the end of the second half, whatever team is ahead, let's just say a team is ahead 3-0. Game's not over. Target score is now set 4. First team to 4 wins. So if the team down 3-0 got 4, they win. But if the team ahead 3-0 gets 1, they win. And every 5 minutes, a tournament that starts with 6 outfield players and 1 keeper per side, every 5 minutes of target score time, each team has to take 1 player off the floor. And then another, and then another, and then another. And so the longer target score time goes, the fewer players are out there, the more space, the more important it is for a keeper to be handy with the ball and also maybe to, be in place when $1 million goal is being shot at your net. Turns out that wasn't the case, thankfully, for Bumpy Pitch FC this year. We'll get into that more. But target score time. Tony, every time I watch it, every 3 minutes, thank you, Marlisha. Was it 5 minutes the first year? Every 3 minutes, player comes off. I think it's just a revelation. I don't know. Every time I see this, I'm like, that's all I care about. Get me to target score time. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, I liken it to a classic deck of cards, and you can play, canasta, solitaire, just a Texas Hold'em, like just traditional games. But then there's also card games where if you go and play Uno, it's still a card game, but it has all these wacky rules that, as long as you're following with this pretty simple format, then you're going to have a good time. And I think that's one of these tournaments that are really coming out and seeing soccer and how it's enjoyed and how it can be more accessible to a lot of different people, right? Like you have players who have retired, you have players who, in the first year it was an experiment, but they had the Wrexham team coming in, and then a couple of 99ers also play, and you have just like this setting of, well, okay, what would happen if a team from Borussia comes in and gets sprinkled in with Tavoy Morgan, and it's cool to see Tavoy Morgan get rocked out in Borussia Dortmund attire, right? Like, who would have thought? But overall, again, the fun aspect of this is something I can't overstate. The players look like they're having a good time. I really can't wait to hear from the players themselves.
Yeah.
Is it like all it seems out to be? It's like a summer camp for soccer, and all your best mates are there. You're playing against some of your teammates. You're playing with some of your rivals. Again, it's just so many layers where it's just the fun of soccer.
And I know many of the folks in our chat already went to TST. I know many Sockers fans made a trip out to North Carolina. Several have gone multiple years or even all 3 years. Looking at you, Marlisha, going all 3 years. Incredible stuff. Now, MASL, which just like you said, and you said it really well, Tony, as this started, it's kind of like, well, what's it going to be? Who are these guys? There's, Jimmy Conrad, there's Nani, there's freaking Pat McAfee with Conkefa, right? Doing live broadcasts. Wrexham's here, Dortmund's here. What does it mean? But year over year over year, what these teams that have put clubs in to TST have found out is that if you have MASL players on your team, you have a chance to win. And if you don't, you don't. You don't, because MASL dominates TST. Here are the numbers provided by MASLsoccer.com. Over 130 MASL players were in the 48-team tournament. Over 130 MASL players. At least somebody from every team in the MASL played at TST. So 100% participation in terms of the teams. of the league. Above and beyond that, 8 MASL referees were out there calling the action. Head coaches took part as well. Even Christian Philly Philemon was there as part of the ESPN Plus broadcast. So the MASL infiltration continues. 13 different soccers played, or players who played on the soccers, I should say, in 2024-25, because Burn is on that list. I mean, he was kind of a soccer.
Soccer, leyenda de los soccers,
Yeah.
Balvinos.
If they wore the shield, all right, 13 guys who wore the shield played in TST 3 this summer. A MASL player has scored the $1 million goal all 3 years. All 3 years. An MASL player scored the $1 million goal. It was Kelvin Oliveira for Newtown Pride in year 1. It was Chad Porch for La Bombonera in year 2. And of course, it was Charlie Galasso, Charlie Gonzalez, who not only scored the $1 million goal, Bumpy Pitch was trailing 1-0 going to target score time. He scored both goals in target score time to take care of business. I should just say they were down 1-0. Charlie scored both goals, and he scored the golden $1 million goal and got the dub. Bumpy Pitch FC. We're going to find out how they came together, what they are. But both the men's and women's team played in the $1 million game from Bumpy Pitch FC. Could you imagine being the GM of Bumpy Pitch and thinking you're going to get the double payout?
It's incredible because not only do you have a chance to see these incredible players that you already know, it's an opportunity to scout potentially. Like it's a way to really have other eyes kind of point out to this new sport, and you see players like Villarreal, who came in. You have teams, I believe it was West Ham or Aston Villa. But that bring over this talent that unlock a different version of playing. And not only that, like you have real competition that you can now embrace and partner with if you're MASL. You have these Kings leagues, you have other types of leagues that are coming up. Lean into it and kind of like grow with it too. And the players are certainly taken with it. Your players are putting your league on the forefront and on the mouths of just the zeitgeist of American soccer. So, be proud of that. And I'm glad that they were able to do that as we have our third soccer in the lobby.
All right. Let's welcome it. It's perfect timing. We've laid out the story. Bumpy Pitch takes it all the way. Let's hear from the guys who helped make it happen and welcome in our $1 million champs for 2025. Soccer's captain, Cesar Cerda, the man we know as Charlie Galasso, Charlie Gonzalez, and the steady hand in back with the most beautiful hair we know, Mitchell Cardenas. Those are our boys. Here comes Mitchell. There is Cesar, and waiting on Charlie. Boys, how are you?
Let me tell. Dale.
Doing good, guys. Doing good. Good to see you.
Absolutely great to see you as well. So excited to have you here. Thank you, boys, for coming. We've been texting a couple of weeks now, but we really wanted to make this happen. But we also wanted to give you a little time, to kind of get back into your home life, let the check cash, I assume, the money settle into the account. And there he is, the $1 million goal scorer himself, Charlie Galasso, Charlie Gonzalez. How are you, Charlie? Can you hear us, Charlie?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, gotcha. Beautiful.
All that money and you can't afford good headphones or what?
I didn't pay my phone bill.
Oh, man. Well, boys, it's great to have you here all at once. Congratulations, obviously, first thing in order. And let's just knock the easiest question out right away. Charlie, you scored the $1 million goal. There's an old saying that says everyone's the hero of their own story. You got the opportunity to be the hero of everyone's story on Bumpy Pitch FC and put that ball in. How long did it take kind of for the high to come down of such an incredible moment?
It took a bit. I mean, I tell the guys I still don't believe that, it still hasn't really hit me. But it took a couple days for it to really kick in, and yeah, it's just amazing just being able to score the game-winning goal.
Not only that, but you guys trailed 1-0 going into target score time. Obviously, you knew you had the time, you had the opportunity to do that. But what was that feeling in such a pressure-packed moment to know that you guys need, and of course you got them both, but to know that you needed two?
I think we were confident enough. There were a couple games where we were down, early in the game, and even in the preseason when we had scrimmages, we were put in that situation that we went down a goal. So, I mean, it wasn't really like, oh man, we lost the game, but I think it was just the confidence from all the guys, knowing that we could come back, and we were already in that situation plenty of times. So it wasn't really, a big thing, but once it went into target score time, it got a little bit tougher to score those two goals. But
No,
yeah, it was
yeah,
just team confidence. All the guys knowing that just everyone put in the work, and it was a team win at the end.
yeah. And you mentioned the team aspect. You mentioned a team win, some of those scrimmages. How did Bumpy Pitch come together as a squad? And cómo se armaron las retas in a sense here with this squad? And because essentially it's a retas, pero con lana, no?
Yeah. Yeah, the team sponsors and Alan, he reached out a couple months ago and during our season, and I just told him like, hey, I have a couple guys on my team that I want to bring out, and that's when I told him like, if you let me do the roster, I can get you guys, I can get you a team core, and we're used to playing all these tournaments together, having guys like obviously Cerda, Mitchell, Gutierrez in the back. I knew coming in it'll be much easier playing with all these guys, and yeah, and that's how we pretty much came together. Just let all the guys know, hey, this is a group that we want to bring in, and they were on board.
Cesar, let me ask you, because I know it's old hat to Charlie, but you guys have to play against the Ontario boys all the time. There's a lot of spirited rivalry there. A lot of Ontario boys on Bumpy Pitch FC. What was that like going from being, kicking one another in the back of the shin to turning around and playing for one another?
I think, Craig, everything stays on the field, right? Once you are out the field, yes, a different story. But yeah, I mean, uh, obviously we know each other since probably, I don't know, a couple of years back, and they know us, we know them, and it wasn't like the easiest or like the hardest we can say to adapt each other, because we all know how to play indoor and how to, like, we all want to be there obviously to win and to try to make the best way possible. And that was it. I think that was the main thing. Try to all play for the same reason, to with the same target, and that was the result.
No, and literally, like, it's really interesting the way that this tournament kind of plays out, right? Like, it promotes attack. Pero Michel, eres de defensa. That's a difficult aspect about being the defender, where it's almost made for attackers to just have a field day.
Yeah, I mean, there's big spaces for people to attack. I think in the beginning of the tournament, we struggled as a team to try and find our tactical discipline and how to be well balanced. But then if you see, as the games went on, the team improved instead of just kind of staying at the same level or dropping the level. I think by game we looked better and better, and learning the rules of the tournament. So I mean, defensively, I think we struggled maybe in the first game or two, but then afterwards, everybody bought into the idea, and the end result obviously showed that.
And is there some sort of stress of like, hey, se me está yendo la gente, like people are going to have to come out because of the rules, like just a different sort of problem to solve, no?
Yes and no. I think everyone's kind of experienced in the smaller fields. Obviously, there's no board, so that's a big difference. But it's not a coincidence that in the past 3 seasons, the championship team has been flooded with indoor players. So being able to deal with that aspect of the tournament, like you said, with the numbers going down from 7 all the way down to 2 or 3, whatever it is that we ended up winning the games. I think we're able to handle that and deal with those situations better than the other players, and I think all 3 years have shown that as well.
All right, let's take a little bit of a trip down memory lane here on the path for Bumpy Pitch FC to the $1 million game. The group stage, of course, is where plenty of good teams are going to wind up falling a little bit short. And you guys started off with a win over Soccer Central's SanDiego.Futbol. Great name. 3-1. But then your old mates, Pereira and Toth, Sneaky Fox, rose up for a 5-3 win. Put you guys 1-1. So now you need a result against La Mexicana Express. And that one winds up being a 5-4 win. Really exciting game, very tense game it had to be. And Charlie, you had the target goal in that one as well. What do you remember about that game?
I know. I just remember, obviously, we had the 3-0 lead. I don't want to say we got too comfortable. There was just some, plays where we kind of, the intensity wasn't there. They came back, and I think there was even a moment where they could have beaten us in the target score time when it was 4-4. They had a clear chance from their end of the field, and the guy kind of like shanked it, with his left foot, and we ended up getting possession of the ball again. We made a couple of changes there, and just we ended up making sure at the end. Yeah, there it is. I think it was me and Lada in that play. Yeah, just happy that we put it away. But yeah, it was a close game. It shouldn't have been that way, but I mean, that's how the game is, especially with this target score at the end.
I mean, on the other side, I just asked Mitchell about that dynamic, right? But at the score, does that put an extra layer to the way that you have to think about offense and defense in order to make sure that, hey, maybe we can be smart about the energy and output, right? Throughout the game, where we know we still have a chance at the end.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, obviously, if we went into target score time already 3-0, it would have been much different. There's not as much pressure, but once the game is, it's tight at 4, it's like I can't make a mistake. Any little mistake can cost you a lot. So, I mean, that's the little details of this tournament that makes it, just exciting, and as a player, it just puts a little bit more pressure on you to put it away when it matters.
Cesar, after advancing, and as Marlisha just noted in the chat, you guys were the 3rd place team coming out of that group. But you get out, you make it. You face Villarreal in the round of 32, your first knockout. You're down 1-0 after the first half. Christian Borja scores, second half scores target time. You guys get the 2-1 victory. Tell me a little bit, and the listeners and the viewers a little bit about that match. That's one, sounds like it was another one that could have gone either way.
Yeah, that was a way that we knew that probably we're gonna take a little advantage on the game, because we knew that they were like more outdoor, like soccer players than indoor or 7v7 players. But they have a couple, I think, guys from Dallas that they were obviously helping a lot to that team, like trying to organize a little bit. So I don't know if you guys saw the game, but we have the possession of the ball most of the time. But I mean, anything can happen, right? It's at the end of the day, it's soccer. So they scored first, and we were having a little bit of problem trying to find the goal to tie the game. But I think the most important thing at the end of the day, like Mitchell was saying, like game after game, we knew that if we keep low score, and especially the game against the Sneaky Fox, we realized that if we kept like a very low score or advantage at the end of the game, we're gonna have more opportunity to win it in target score, because we have the players, we have the experience to play that situations. And I think that game was one of the first one that we actually realized that we can just keep the ball, keep playing the same style, don't force the play when it's not necessary, and keep the patience. And at the end of the day, we are gonna end up finding the winning goal.
Yeah, and Mitchell, there's a lot of experience here, especially in this situations where it's playoffs, and obviously through MASL, but then how much of that experience comes through in these situations? You move from the round of 32 over to the round of 16 with a quick goal. That's a difficult 1-0 win with Brandon Gomez and the goalkeeper as goal. Pero la experiencia, is that something that definitely carries on and you guys can rely on as a team?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a big factor in the success that we had, because you're able to manage the situations instead of getting too high or too low, right? Like if, for example, in the quick goal game, when it's 0-0, maybe you start panicking and start trying to find a goal, or, you can panic and start making mistakes that lead to them scoring a goal. So I think the experience of playing in, year after year, playing in semifinals, finals, important games here, out of the MASL, like everybody's been involved in those kind of games, or even throughout their outdoor career prior to indoor. It just adds to the level of every player and what we can do to keep our cool, or know when you have to kind of bring the intensity up. It's also about being able to identify those moments, right? Not just be so mellow all the time, but when do you need to step up the intensity, and identifying those moments, I think, is very key for our team.
Talking to our heroes from Bumpy Pitch FC, TST champs. Okay, so we're through the round of 16, 1-0 win there. Your striker's mate, Brandon Gomez, comes up with a goalkeeper goal to win that. Had to come right back, Charlie, later that day to play in the quarterfinal, the round of 8 against Drip FC. Just tell everyone a little bit, just the weather, the situation, like what was that like from a physical and even emotional standpoint to have to turn around and play a second knockout match same day?
Yeah, I mean, we would get to the locker room 2 hours ahead. If we played at 8, we would be there at 6. We were ready to go, and then they tell us like last minute, like, hey, you guys got to stay inside the locker room. There's like a storm coming. We're thinking it might be like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but we ended up being there for, I think, a little bit more than an hour and a half, close to 2 hours, just sitting there waiting. You're just thinking about the game. You're just eager to get on the field. So, I mean, the field was pretty wet. I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm not saying anything about the field, but it kind of helped them as an advantage. They had a pretty physical team. They had guys who were pretty athletic, who had a lot of speed. Um, and yeah, it kind of cost us in the beginning. We went down off of a PK. We go down 1-0, and it's just, like the guys are saying, if we just keep it at 1-0, it'll be much easier when it gets to that target score time. Luckily, we ended up tying the game. I think it was Leroy who scored that goal. And just target score time, we just, like, no excuses. We gotta get this win. Doesn't matter how we score. It doesn't have to be a pretty goal, and we ended up getting that goal towards the end, and it was Munir who ends up scoring the game winning goal in target score time.
¿Te
It
acuerdas
was
de
pretty
todo,
impressive,
Charlie?
Tony. It was pretty impressive for Empire last year.
I've watched that game like 30 times.
It's really good that you guys are finding like this common ground, obviously with rivals like Munir and stuff, but like you're not showcasing all the tricks, right? Because at the end of the day, you're going to come back and see him. He's going to be a rival in a couple of weeks. Or is that, sabes que ahorita todos a la misión, everybody's the same mission, same everything, one team, let's go.
I mean, that's how it has to be, I mean, once you're on the same team, we're on the same page. It doesn't matter if you play for, soccer, you play for strikers, we just have one goal, and that's just to win. Once we play against them during the season, it'll be a much different story. There might be a few kicks here and there, a few elbows, but that's how it is. That's how it should be.
Just say, hey, listen, the pitch got a little bumpy right as I ran by you. I'm so sorry about that. Cesar, tell me a little bit about the semifinal. A 4-1 scoreline against Pasha Luxury FC. If you just go through the numbers, you're going, this has got to be the game. The Bumpy Pitch FC played their match of the tournament. What do you take back from that one?
I think, again, to be honest with you, Craig, I didn't like look for all the teams, or like I did my homework like I normally do in the league, and at the end I just was watching a little bit of the game like before we're gonna play against them, the game that they played before against La Bombonera, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be a tough game because they're like more physical, they're like strong, big. But I think again, they are like more outdoor players. They like to go long balls. They don't like to play like from the back like we normally do. They don't like to keep the ball in possession like we normally do from the back. And I think that was like one of the advantages that we have. Plus that game, I don't know. We have all the guys connected. Like everyone was 100% focused on what we need to do, because we knew that that was the last step to make the finals, and that was what we did. I mean, everything defending the way they supposed to, so from forwards all the way midfielders and then defenders, and obviously the goalkeeper. That game has like a very good saves, very big saves, and I think everyone did a very good job on that game, and the score was that. But to be honest, it didn't feel like with that advantage at the end of the game, because it was like more um, close or complicated than what the result shows. So was very good game to play.
I mean, you show that goal, ese 3-0 de Charlie, like that's a beautiful goal from the stop,
Yeah.
from the counterattack, from every single play. Like, es un golazo. I don't care, indoor, outdoors, 7v7 in el barrio. Like that's a great goal. And I mean, you guys are playing championship caliber soccer in whatever way. And Michel llegan a la final. Pumas de Alabama, los legendarios Pumas de Alabama. Uh, First in the first half, it was scoreless, and then concede once the second half kind of comes in, and again that pressure comes through, and take me through that final and coming into it, just familiar feeling for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's never a dull moment to play in a final. I think anybody that's involved in those games frequently will tell you that. You know, it's always exciting. There's always a little bit of anxiety going into the games because you just want it to start already. You don't want to keep waiting around. I think at the end of the day, the two teams that performed the best were the ones that made it to the final. You know, the ones that played the best within the rules of that specific tournament. And then for us, you know, we always had that goal in mind. It was just to kind of speak a little bit on the whole tournament, was to kind of live in the moment, you know, instead of thinking about, you know, what are we going to do with the prize money, or how can we win the prize money? It was always just living through that day, that specific game. And especially once we made it to the knockout rounds, that's kind of how we went about it. It's like, just how do we find our way from this game to be able to play the next one, and so on and so forth. And then once the final came, you know, the feeling in that little locker room that we had at the tournament was, you know, everybody was just kind of like very, very chill, very mellow, and anxious to play because of the stage that they set up with that tournament. It's a very unique tournament, and, you know, being to play in the stadium and in front of all those people, like, it's always fun, never gets boring. And then the opponent, you know, to be honest, I think there was a lot of talk about them more so from the outside than from within. We obviously fancied our chances against them, and always knew that, like we've been saying, if we kept it low, a low scoring game, if it was against us, then great. Obviously, we were able to get a big lead. That would have been fantastic, but we weren't. And if you see, once we went down 1-0, there was no panic in the team. There was no rocking of the boat. You know, everybody just kept the same cool. And that was a big thanks to the coach, you know, and Tino and Reggie as well, you know, relaying that message before the game and obviously during the game as well. Like, just keep it there. It's okay. 1-0 down. There's still a target score, and we still have a chance to go ahead and tie it up in the first round to 3 rounds of the lowering of the players, and then give ourselves a fighting chance in the end. And that's exactly what we did anyway.
And as we know, the rest was history off the toe of Charlie. A quick inbounds, an empty net, and an amazing for yourself. Any doubt once it left, Charlie? Any thought it's going to go over the bar?
No, it's just crazy to think about it. You know,
Sí, sí, un poquito, güey.
when I ran in the field, Sarda plays me a ball, and it's just like doesn't matter what happens, like the ball has to go in. I thought about shooting on that first touch. I noticed it was too far away. So I kind of crept a little bit, got closer, and once I think it was their goalie who had the penny on, he was close enough. I just had to make sure to get the right hit, and luckily it went in.
You just closed your eyes and swung.
I just whatever happens, happens.
which leads us to the celebration. And I gotta say, I mean, it was so incredible to see you guys. The jubilation, the joy. Obviously, everyone dogpiling you, Charlie, at midfield, and then you get to put up the final piece on that tournament bracket puzzle, and you get this giant trophy, this gigantic globe trophy, and here it is. Now, I didn't know the context of this. Marlicia's already spilled the tea.
Yeah, but we're not going to tell you, Craig. We're not going to tell
Yeah.
you why we got to do that. No, we're not. You got to be there.
Well, I wish I could have been there. I mean, because when I saw this, as Tony puts it up on social, I was just like, these guys have lost their damn mind. They got a trophy, and they just throw it. Ah, done.
Phil.
And then you see, but I'm like, no, wait, they seem so happy. I think they did this on purpose.
Oh, my God. Charlie, tell him.
I mean, just the whole idea behind it was for everyone on the team to, take a piece back home, as a part of the trophy, just to remember, just everyone takes a piece. The women's side also did that, so that was the whole reason behind that. Ceramic trophy, make sure you throw it, grab a piece, take it home,
So cool.
pretty much it, yeah.
That is absolutely.
Charlie took like a this size piece. I mean, it was just like a little size, right? Like Charlie got like this size. Come on, man.
That's only fair. You get the big piece of chicken.
Yeah, I had to.
And
It
I
was
said,
for all
"Oh."
TC Academy a piece.
Now, our common friend Eddie Trujillo, who you've seen at all the soccer's matches and takes so many photos as well, he sent Tony and I this video earlier this afternoon. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know if you haven't, but this was Pumas fans in Alabama. Just take a listen.
Oh my God. Ay, no, pero. Ay, no. ¡No! ¡No! ¡No puede ser!
Hey, Charlie.
What did you do, man?
You make her angry.
¿Qué pasa? Just absolutely.
Con la
killed
chancla
me.
en la mano. No.
Yeah, Charlie.
Oh. All right. Survey question for all you guys. Obviously, answer it to the level that you'd like, but nice to be a winner. Get a winner's check. You guys doing anything? I don't know. You get to go on a vacation together, and of course, we haven't brought up Christian, and we need to talk about our common dear friend Christian Gutierrez. Couldn't make it tonight, but I know
busy. He's busy making money, bro.
I get it, man. You gotta earn. But any plans? Anything exciting? Anything fun for you that you're doing with the money?
I know for a fact that Charlie's, I think he's buying a home. So I don't know.
I wish I could.
Not especially, Craig. On my side, personally, I'm probably going to a little vacay with the family, and that's it. Try to do something good with the money, and that's it.
I think Mitchell was gonna buy, I don't know, like a trip for all the guys that won the tournament, take us to, I don't know, Vegas, or I don't know, spend a little bit of money. That's what I heard, but
without
really...
without the TST money.
But with that,
I mean, Mitchell texted me. He was willing to fly out to California for this interview. I was like,
Yes.
Mitchell, I mean, you're doing well, man, but settle down, bro. This isn't Good Morning America. We can just do it from the living room.
I know. Once the guys told me they weren't gonna be in San Diego per se, I was like, well, I don't need to fly out. That we're gonna go, maybe go out a little bit.
Well, yeah, it'd be nice,
Blur
right?
it a
I
little
mean,
bit.
anytime you guys want to do that, let's make it happen. Okay, before I let you go, let's just talk just a little bit though about Cristiano Gutierrez, because he is such an important part of the soccer's team, of Bumpy Pitch team, and talk just any one of you guys or all of you a little bit about his impact on the squad.
El Perro. Yeah. He was big part of the team, Craig, especially again when the time score came into a game. We can always relate on him. He's like physically always on point, and so we can always uh, know and have the confidence that he will be doing the max effort for the team. So that's like one of the biggest contributions to the team, and I think it's Golden Gutierrez at the end of the day.
Although, I mean, Golden Galasso over here is starting
Yeah.
to
It's a good combination.
take a little of the shine, a little of the brilliance. Well, boys, it is such a pleasure to have you here. Just to see your guys' face in the summer.
Hey,
is an
wait,
absolute
Craig.
joy.
Charlie didn't say what he's gonna do with the money and Mitchell, so I just want to know.
Oh.
Thank you. Good point.
Mitchell, what are you doing?
I still haven't received my payment, so I don't know what I'm gonna do.
But when you do, what are you gonna do with it?
At Western Union.
Who knows, man? Who knows? Any crazy ideas out there? I'm willing to listen. No, it'll go to good use. There's obviously something with the family, something around the house. Who knows? But I haven't even thought of that, to be honest. It's just there.
Just sitting there. No, same. I mean, I haven't really thought about it either. Just obviously not planning on spending all of it, but maybe take a little trip, with the parents somewhere. So
I mean, it's gonna be hard to spend all the piece that you got. So
I'm just saying, it's always nice to have a nice little trip that you can associate. Like, I won this and then I went there. Like, hey, honey, remember when we went to wherever? Like, that's because of that trip.
I think as the team captain from Bumpy Pitch, you should take the team somewhere, right? Like that would only make sense.
I think,
but without that money, everyone buys their own. I'll take you guys, but just buy your own flight, and I'll see you guys there.
but he's got the steak dinner when you get there. He's got the steak dinner when you get there. That's for sure.
Hopefully, at least that. Hopefully.
All right, fellas. Well, look forward to chatting to you later on in the summer and down the road as, of course, we get a lot closer to the season. Congratulations, one and all. What an incredible moment. Something that literally you bring a piece home and you keep it forever. And we wanted to make sure to get the chance to get the whole story from y'all. So thank you so much for your time and your attention today.
No worries, Craig.
Thank you
for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Charlie Gonzalez, Mitchell Cardenas, Cesar Serna.
He will give you a piece of that trophy, Craig, and you too, Chivas. So no worries, he will get you something.
I mean,
tienes guardado, no te hagas en el carro.
I won't know if it's plaster from that or plaster from the bathroom that you just remodeled, but if you just give me a little chunk,
Porcelana.
Look, just sign it. Just sign the chunk.
Un pedacito.
Yo también
All right,
tengo un
fellas.
pedacito, Charlie, para ti.
Great night.
Dale.
All right, boys. See you later. That was fun.
Yeah, they had fun. They all had a great time, and that's what I liked about it. Right, like it's the boys having a good time, and just hopefully bonding and really getting acclimated, and that's what you want your players to do, right? Go back, practice some soccer, still stay fit, stay match fit clearly enough to be part of $1 million team. Like that's at the end of the day what you want. All these players sometimes go to futsal World Cups, and it's very intense. This seems a little bit like a gear shift down, but it's very much still playing soccer at a high level. And again, I'm glad the guys had fun, and I'm glad that there was a little story with the trophy. Like it's not just like whoops, or just out of malice,
or just them being like anarchists. Like, F this trophy. Give me this big old trophy. I'm going to break this thing. We're crazy like that. We're Bumpy Pitch. I was like, I don't know. No, it's incredible. Which literally, and by the way, to the audience, I had, come through thinking of some questions to ask them, and the last one I wrote down was something about the MASL final. I'm like, I'm not going to ruin the vibe.
Yeah.
Of a really fun conversation. I'm not Hacksaw, All right, tell me about the thing that made you sad now. Let's leave with sadness. Like, no, let's talk about some fun stuff. We can save all that bitterness and recrimination and everything else for sometime in November. When it's time to dredge those feelings back up again. Instead, I'd like to say this kind of in closing. The MASL, in a different universe, should own TST. They should own and operate TST. And they should do it 3 times a summer. Once in the West, once in the Midwest, and once in the East. MASL City, MASL City, MASL City. Imagine it. Would it be hard? Yeah. Would the logistics be difficult? Yeah. Is Cary a nice place because it's got all the wide open grounds and the multiple fields next to one another? Yeah. But you know what that thing is right next to Front Wave Arena?
Yes, sir.
El Corazon Fields. It's a place you could have a lot of fields next to one another. There's places like that all over the place. And of course, TST has done a wonderful job organizing for 3 years. But what they're doing essentially is taking MASL talent, putting it in different clothes, creating a slight variant of the MASL product, and repurposing it as their own. And I'm not saying that's wrong in any way, shape, or form. What I'm saying is, in a different universe, and I understand it's the one that we're living in, but in a different universe, this should be MASL's show. This should be MASL's show. If this league is trying to find ways to grow and to seek out new audiences and to improve their product and to legitimize their product and to get more visas and to get more recognition and everything else, we all know it takes money. It takes a lot of money, but it also takes innovation. It takes thinking outside the box, and something like this that would be in essence a barnstorming tour of the greatest players in the MASL with this incredible drama of target score and winner take all. Even the King's Cup that Frank does is a lovely little thing that, later at the beginning of the fall, you're like, oh yeah, here's all the players, here's everyone, here's here's what's going on. So I know I'm being super pie in the sky. Okay. But it's more of, if you're not aspirational, how are you ever going to be operational down the road? And I mean, do you want me to tell you the even crazier idea I have? But TST is like, I know they're not going to do this, but in a different world, in a better world, they would literally grab this thing, buy the rights, and make it something that was transportable and then multiply it.
Yeah, just a modular league and have different sites, and the country's big enough to do that, right? And then make it a regional thing, like you were saying, and have yourself a World Cup of sorts, right? Like add a West and Midwest, and you have 4 different regions, and then the best of the best, go play in an individual tournament before that represents the US. And now you're talking about a World Cup. You're talking about, again, bigger out the box things like they should be thinking about and really embracing, because it's just a shame that there's not a lot of people who are actively going out and just, let's say, covering it as it should. Like, it's this kind of like circus act in a lot of different ways, but it's very respectable because, again, it's a high quality tournament. It's a thing. It's an avenue to get these names out, to get these sponsorships out there where, hey, you see these great players, bring them over to the MASL too. Keep sponsoring the beautiful game in this sort of situation. And guess what? You're going to see these players play even better because they're out of their element. They're not within the walls, but put them inside the walls and they can do incredible stuff too.
I just because it's just us here. It's just us friends here.
Us.
You know what's coming to Petco Park in September? First weekend of September.
First weekend of September.
Yeah, I think it's the 5th and the 6th.
I know. Survivor Series. It's at Petco Park.
The Savannah Bananas
Oh,
are
yes.
coming to Petco Park.
Yes.
The single most brilliant marketing idea in professional sports in the 21st century United States of America.
Yes.
The Savannah Bananas. Originally just a minor league independent team that said, what if we rethought everything? What if we created a product that was purely designed for entertainment, but it's still baseball? But it's baseball completely reimagined. What if we put nothing off limits and said, what would be the most fun thing we could do? It grew from a minor league sensation to a traveling minor league sensation to now a phenomenon that sells out football stadia and is going to sell out back-to-back nights at Petco Park. Well, the thing about that is in baseball, the players are right there. You can see them, right? You can interact with them. Normally, it's a very, very boring sport. But the Savannah Bananas root, the seed from which it sprouts, is the Harlem Globetrotters,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
The Harlem Globetrotters, who took basketball and reimagined it with comedy and entertainment. And of course, basketball is a sport where you can see the players' faces, where you can see their bodies, their physiques. They are human beings. You can see them right there. Baseball, you can see the players. Football, you can't see the players. Hockey, you can't see the players, right? They're lost behind helmets and masks. You can't see them. Indoor soccer, you can see the players.
Mm-hmm.
Indoor soccer isn't lost in all of the lore of, well, we don't do that in the third league in Britain. We don't do that. Oh, in La Liga, they wouldn't do that there. Oh, could you imagine if the Bundesliga? What if you created some fun ass arena entertainment soccer show that was all trick plays and crazy passes and wild stuff and wild uniforms and wild music and dancing before you kick the ball and all of it? Like, it would take a long time. It wouldn't start easy, but that would be the kind of thing that could revolutionize the sport by creating actual popularity that broke through out of this tiny little niche.
You're already
How do you
the
break
rebel.
out of this to
Yeah.
get out to here?
You're already the rebels. You're the ones that traveled west. You're the ones that are being looked at already as not traditional soccer. So embrace it, lean into it. Like, it's not like you're going the opposite direction. You can't say, well, traditionally, like you're saying in indoor soccer, that would never. Dude, you're playing with walls and carpet. Sometimes you're playing with, in Mexico, just different sorts of structures that are walls with water in them, and say, hey, that's professional as it gets. Okay. Okay. You're already there. You're already there. Make it. How in some Legoland roller coasters you have the water squirters where the people around can just like shoot water. Hey, have the audience have that in Chihuahua and start like having the water levels go down from the walls. And as the game progresses, you don't know where the bounce is going to go, and it evens the playing field. I mean, Craig, we need some investors here.
And just to be clear, I'm not advocating for the MASL to be played like the Savannah Bananas. I'm thinking of something that would be along separate and aside as an entertaining thing that could be help promote the sport. But anyways, I know I'm being very, very crazy. But big ideas are the way that you can sometimes break out of a small shell. And I think the MASL could use some big ideas along the way because they've got a great product. It's like that great restaurant that you and your buddies know about, or some people in the neighborhood know, but they never get the foot traffic. They don't have the best location. They don't have the money to invest to get the advertising or whatever, but it's still, they make a mean pasta. Like, or pick your favorite food. Kelsey. Would it be so bad? All I want is a Savannah Banana indoor soccer team, Kelsey. Why are you questioning my sobriety?
Can you imagine Boris Pardo on stilts? Like, Horse on stilts sells itself. Come on.
None. Are you kidding me? Kick saving a beauty.
Not a warranted question, but now I kind of okay. I see.
I understand. I understand how from the outside you might think that. All it's just more of like a sweet summer child coming up with, beautiful, impossible ideas. Yeah, I could see X on. I think X would be like one of my first draft picks if I was creating the Savannah Banana soccer team. Because got to be charismatic.
Yeah, I could see him coming out there in his beach soccer attire, aka shoeless, and just turns out he plays better without shoes, and just like, no, I only wear shoes because MLSL regulations tell me to, but here I am, and just all right, cool, let's go.
Chris Toth runs out, but he has buckets of sand just falling wherever he goes. So only he is a beach soccer player. Everyone else is not. Okay, now we're getting ridiculous. But only now. Everything up until this was a really good idea, maybe the best idea, but that one was really one step too far.
That's actually this Eddie thing. That's actually a version of it. It's out there. I don't, have you seen that? It's 11v11. Everybody has a helmet and boxing gloves. You go and hit the player that has possession of the ball, and you try to score. I mean, 2025, Craig.
Calvin Ball. Here we are. So when we come back next time, might be next week, might be a week after, we'll come to you with player signings, with the latest MASL news. And for all y'all that stuck around for an hour to the end of soccer summertime, save these dates. September 13th and 14th. Save these dates. September 13th, September 14th, Front Wave Arena. Announcement coming soon. Very soon. By Sunday, in fact, is what I've been told. Announcement coming. Do you remember what the NHL did, Tony, in their All-Star break?
This time around? Please.
It's okay if the answer is no.
No, I was trying to.
You're a busy guy. You're a busy guy. This was really a big deal back in whenever it was, February.
Yeah.
But instead of doing an all-star game, they did what was called the Four Nations Face-Off. It was like a little mini Olympics where they had the United States and Canada and Finland and Sweden, and they played a tournament instead of just doing the all-star game. And it was the best damn thing ever. They got the highest ratings they ever got. They got higher ratings than they did for the Stanley Cup Finals. The U.S.-Canada game, many of the players said it was the most important, intense game of their entire lives. And it was an exhibition game. But the point is, it was called the Four Nations Face-Off. That's what they did in the NHL. And it was incredibly, incredibly popular. And for no particular reason, I just thought I'd discuss that with you. On the heels of mentioning that September 13th and 14th, an event will take place at Front Wave Arena with more news to be announced soon.
I like what I think I'm picking up what you're putting down, Craig. And I do remember one of the first things happening at Front Wave was rather similar to that before the soccer season. And there was a lot of people there. It was a pretty good time. Okay. I like it.
And you know what? Very last thing, just because I see the comments in the chat right now. I'm happy to tell you there have been some changes at Front Wave. There's been some changes, and I met today the person who's going to be my liaison to the social media, and I'm very excited for how things I think are going to progress. Myself and Cheeky and Sean and Phil, we're doing what we can to keep this ship moving forward. And the thing I can do is to help make communication easier. And I was really excited with the conversation. I was happy they were able to at least repost what Tony put out yesterday for the show, put it up on IG, put it up on, I believe on X, Facebook as well. So, stay tuned. It's not always, it's not going to just exactly stay the same. Things are going to get better. And that's exciting and fun too. So with that, let's wrap it up. Thanks to Charlie. Thanks to Cesar. Thanks to Mitchell. Thanks in absentia to Christian, just because he's generally a really good guy. And thanks to all of you for showing up on a Wednesday in the middle of the summer, July 2nd, to talk some MASL, to remember some TST, to fet Bumpy pitch, toss the confetti back up in the air. And we'll be back sometime later this month. So stay tuned, follow the socials, and we'll be back here. Tony, let everyone know what you're doing and what we're doing to cover football in San Diego in the summer.
You can catch everything that we do here on SanDiego.Futbol, the home of soccer in San Diego. On there, you can find the video version of our new show, Greg, along with Alex Pena, the Cromaniacs, every Thursday, covering San Diego FC and everything about that team that's doing pretty good. I think they're inspired.
Pretty good.
Inspired by the work of the Soccers, perhaps, but they are doing incredibly well. You can find that here on SanDiego.Futbol. Craig?
Yes, absolutely. Cromaniacs podcast available on all podcast platforms as well. So if you have Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeart, Boomblom, Blibidoo, and Jubilabob, they all have Cromaniacs. I just checked with Jubilabob, and we're in. So Pakistan's covered now. So it's good news. Good news for us. But yeah, you can find that show. Plus, of course, I'm doing Padres Talk all the time, Padres Hot Tub, and you can support it at patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub, or if you're just a casual and you want to just listen to the free feed, you can find that everywhere you find Cromaniacs and where you find Soccer's Overtime. Crossing Streams is back, my television streaming recommendations show with Chris Reed from Sons of Anarchy. We're putting it out every week. This week, we're going to be doing a full review of season 4 of The Bear, episode 245 of Crossing Streams. It's been around since the late 2010s. So you can find that all the same places. Okay. For Tony Sanchez, I'm Craig Elston. Thanks to you for being here. Congrats to Bumpy Pitch FC. And until next time, so long from Soccer's Overtime. Go Soccers.